one night we had a visiting evangelistic team and pastor and his group come to sing and praise and preach for a weekend. And during that service, I'm sitting on the front row, and they started singing some worship songs, and I got up and had my arms raised and praising God, and all of a sudden the song started getting a little bit faster and a little bit faster and a little bit faster. And next thing I know, it's like a war dance. I went, wow. And I was just dancing there and praising God. And God said, I want you to get out front. And I went, what? He said, get out front and dance. I said, nah, I can do it right here. And all of a sudden, I felt something push me in the back. And I stumbled out to the front in the middle of the congregation. And I looked around me, and there was nobody there. I went, uh-oh. So as they began to play, I began to dance. Now, you got to see this. I can't dance. And I can't even do anything that looks unclumsy. But I started to dance. And all of a sudden, I felt like I needed to look up. And I looked up, and I pointed way up high like that. And I was looking at something, and I reached down, and I got symbolically some stones, and I put them in my bag, and I put one stone in my slingshot. Obviously, I was looking at a giant. So I ran toward that giant and took my slingshot and slung as I was dancing. And all of a sudden, bam, he fell and right in front of me. And I ran over to him, and I stood on him, and I took my sword and cut off his head. Well, that's an enactment of what David did with Goliath, right? Well, the other guy on the other side of the church was sitting on the front row, one of my friends. He said, man, I could hear that stone hit him in the head, and I heard the ground shake. And I went, wow. So what happened was I had been going through a really hard time, and I needed some relief because the enemy was crushing me. And at that moment, my enemy fell. It was absolutely amazing. Now, you can do this, okay? The Bible teaches us to dance in chapter 1, I think Psalms chapter 149. And if we'll dance, he'll take vengeance on our enemies. Remember in 2 Chronicles 20, he sent out the praisers ahead of him? Well, Psalms also says this. He teaches our fingers to fight and our hands to war. Well, that's exactly what I did in that enactment. Well, my enemy was defeated. Your enemy can be defeated too. You say, well, that's just foolish. Well, guess what? God chooses the foolish things to confound the wise. He chooses those things that are foolish. It's not like with weapons and war or horses. Those can't deliver you. These are spiritual battles. And in order to fight spiritual battles, you have to do spiritual things. And one of the things God uses is your fingers and your hands. And another thing he uses is the dance and the timbrel and the song. It sounds kind of like a fairy tale. But when he set the praisers out, he set ambushments against the enemy for Israel, and they won. You may be having a spiritual battle going on in your life right now, and you have not been able to get any relief. Why don't you try to let your fingers to fight and your hands to war and get into the Lord with a dance? Put you on some praise music, put you on some war music, and just begin to dance before the Lord. And maybe you can even see that giant that's ahead of you. Or it might be some other obstacle. It might be a witch. It might be some other presence of darkness and something that you can't really see. Maybe it's depression. But whatever it is, once you start to do it, those things will roll off. You will be amazed. Guess what? My life is joyful and it's happy. I might be 80 years old, and it's like one great big old guy that was close to 400 pounds in the church. He said, I can't dance like all you guys can, but I'm dancing on the inside. So it doesn't make any difference how much you weigh. It doesn't make any difference what your problem is. Use the dance and use your hands and your fingers to do your battle, and in the praise and worship of the Lord. And you're going to see some great victories, and I know you will. And when you do, I want you to call me and text me and let me know what happened and how you won the victory, okay? God bless you guys, and go in peace. I love you. Bye.